I just wanted to get on here and make a video about the ways in which your ego can actually start to deceive you into acting upon certain things and thinking about certain things. So basically, to get right into it, when you start on your path and you start discovering more about yourself, and you're doing more of your inner search and inner work, and you're learning more about all these different things about yourself and what's going on, there's going to be a time when you have to start distinguishing, what's coming from you, what's coming from your ego, and what's coming from the spirit. Now, I just made a video on distinguishing your voice from the voice of your ego. So if you take that and start to actually, compound on it and start working on that and start inner searching and actually applying that type of information, then you'll start to see that, okay, your ego might start showing you different things. Now, when you really start to turn up and really start to apply this information, there's going to be times where you start to think, okay, you're getting certain information from spirit. You're getting, spirit is starting to show you certain things, and starting to give you certain abilities and certain things. But with this, you also have to make sure that you're doing your proper inner search and inner working on these things, because just because you got a download or you got some information that you believe is from spirit, you also have to run through those checks and make sure, is this coming from spirit, or is this coming from my ego, or is this coming from me? Because you have to be able to distinguish these as you start going along on your path and on this journey. Because the more information that you are able to perceive and to receive, then it's a lot easier for your ego to start to manipulate you. Because this whole thing is a journey of self-discovery, a journey of finding out who you are and everything that you can do and what's going on. Now, your ego is already really in tune with who you are and all that, so it's able to present things in a way to where you're like, oh yeah, this is coming from my thoughts, that's what's happening. But really and truly, that's not the case, because it's able to present it in a way to where you believe, okay, I know this is the right thing I'm supposed to be doing, or this is what this is how I'm feeling. But when you get these certain things, it very well may be spirit telling you something or giving you a certain information. But once you get these things, you have to take the time to actually internalize them and meditate on them and see if this is really where it's coming from. Because your ego will always be trying to, well, not always, but most of the time it will be trying to distract you and stop you from the different goals that you have, and stop you from actually raising your awareness to a level to where you're able to see what's going on. So now it's going to start to, it might even give you certain abilities that you didn't have before, give you certain insights because of how tuned in the ego is into this system. So it's able to do certain things that, say you yourself might even not even be aware of how to do just yet. So now you feel like you're getting certain abilities, you're getting certain information from spirit. But if you don't take the time to actually think about it and actually meditate on it and really do your inner search and your inner work on that, and as well as your outer work, once you start to do more of that, then you can easily become deceived, because the ego is a part of you. So when I was saying in my last video, that when you have to distinguish the voice of your ego from yourself, because they're very similar, because the way the ego communicates with you is in ways that you will understand the best. And and you feel, okay, well, if this is given to me the exact way that I believe I perceive this the best, then no, this must be coming from me, or this has to be coming from spirit. But the ego likes to deceive and distract. So you definitely have to make sure that you are doing your ego checks and doing your spirit talks and your meditations in order to find out, is this really what's happening, or is this really the case of what's going on? Because you don't want to get deceived out here. The ego will do it really quickly to you. It might have you starting to have certain thoughts about people or situations and things that you should do. But if you take the time to actually do your meditation and your inner work, you might start to realize, hey, this isn't even something that even aligns with the balance that spirit is trying to provide. So when you start to look at it from that perspective, then you be like, okay, well then, if this is not aligning with the balance of how spirit provides certain things and certain information, then where is this coming from? You got to see, is it coming from an outside source? Is somebody else, starting to plant these ideas into your head? Or is somebody else influencing how you actually act? Or is it your ego? And is it your ego taking you to a place where, because that is going to be a place deep inside. So that's why I say you have to do your inner work, because your ego works, so, like really deep into your subconscious, really deep into your inner self, because it's ingrained, it's entwined, it's a symbiotic relationship between the two of you. So you have to make sure that you are looking at it from all perspectives, not just, okay, if I'm getting this information, it has to be from spirit, regarding to, certain situations and certain ideas, because it very well could be from spirit, it could be from an outside source, or it could be from your ego. You just have to make sure that you're doing your constant checks and your constant work. And once you start getting deeper into spirituality, then you have to, start doing this even more, because your ego wants that type of power, wants those type of control, and wants to be able to make you, basically work for it instead of, it working for you. For you, both being able to achieve what you need to, in order to achieve that balance. But that's more for you to do your inner work on. But as you begin to, actually think about the situations that you've been put in and the situations that have been provided to you, you have to be able to see both sides and all sides of where the information is coming from. You can't just take it from one area and be like, okay, I got this and I got the feeling that it's from spirit. You got to get that confirmation, that true confirmation, and there's many different ways that you can do this, and that's for you to figure out exactly, how you want to do that. Saying you can ask spirit to give you certain signs. You can also, just really start to think about the information, and before you start to apply it, you start thinking about what would applying that information actually do. Because there's certain processes that you go through with applying the information, because you want to make sure that you're using the information that you get properly. You don't want to be out here, becoming someone who's trying to manipulate people or get over on somebody, just because. The ego is going to try to do that. It's going to try to get you into those states to where you're in a state to where you want to be able to achieve more, and you want more power, more control. That's one thing that you got to let go of. You got to let go of that control, because some things are not within your control, and the ego is going to try to tell you that it is. So you have to be able to see, okay, is this my ego trying to tell me to do something? Is this my ego trying to show me a different way? Or is it my ego trying to help me? Because as I've said, multiple times, the ego does try to help you out in different situations. So you don't want to completely shut that voice out, but you have to be aware of what is actually happening within yourself and without yourself to have these things happen. You might be starting to get onto a level to where, you starting to see the different aspects and everything, and now you're starting to put your ego to the side. Now, once you're taming your ego, you don't want to completely shut it down and have it just oh no, now, and then you're rejecting it pretty much, because that's when the most rebellion happens. You got to think about it. Even everybody, when they go through their teenage years and stuff, they talk about the rebellion. They know they're going through their rebellious stage. It's like whatever you tell them to do, they're going to do the opposite. When you try to put them down more and put more constraint on them, what are they going to try to do? Try to break free even more. So you got to think about it in that way. That's just a little tip from, my personal perspective. There's many more ways that you could perceive it, because there's unlimited amount of ways that you could perceive that information. So it's up to you to be able to go within and actually see where this information is coming from. Is this how you should actually apply it? Because just because I apply something in a certain way doesn't mean that's how you need to be applying it in that way. You got to see what's best for you, how spirit is actually working with you in order to put out this information and get the information and actually apply it in your life, in real time. Because there's going to be times where you think that, okay, I'm doing everything I should be doing, and I'm getting out there, I'm putting in this extra work, but you didn't fully put in enough effort or put in enough work to see, okay, is this actually the path that you're going down? Where's this leading? What's going on? Because you should be present in the moment, but you should also see how the present moment affects everything else. that wider perspective, that wider view. You can't limit yourself to one viewpoint. So whenever you start going through all these different experiences and getting this information, you know, don't just take it from a spiritual aspect, take it from a mental aspect, take it from a physical aspect, take it from what other people might see it as, take it from everywhere, you know what I mean? So you just got to be able to, take all the different perspectives and combine it and see what is actually your true perspective, what is going to work for you. And this is going to be a constantly, changing thing. But as you evolve and change and transform yourself more into the person and being that you are and that you want to be, there's going to be times where your ego is going to try to lash out and flare out. It's going to want to try to stop you from doing these different things. So you got to make sure that you're staying on top of your game. You can't let these types of things stop you and withhold you from actually getting this certain type of information and putting out that information into your immediate environment or whatever you're going to be doing. You have to take that time to internalize whatever information that you get. Whether it be a thought of a new exercise or a thought of a new mantra, a thought of a new meditation, all those types of things. You got to take the time and put in the work and effort to see, okay, are these actually going to help me? Are these going to benefit me? Am I going to learn from this? Or is this just going to start creating more negativity? Or is my ego stopping me from viewing certain things a certain way? Because you might even get some advice from somebody at a certain point, and then you're thinking, okay, everything's going good. This is spirit telling me to do this stuff. And they're like, hey, look at it from a different perspective. And then all of a sudden your ego is like, why? Because no, this is spirit telling you. Obviously they're against me because they're trying to stop me from connecting with spirit. You got to let that type of stuff go. You can't just let that affect your life in that type of way. You have to be able to see that you can truly start to do certain things, and when you start to do them, your ego is going to try to stop you, because once you start doing these things, then it's not going to be getting more of what it wants. The ego wants a lot more physical pleasures and different things, and then some mental pleasures as well. But when you start to realize exactly how the ego is doing these things, how the ego is interacting with you and making these certain things happen, then you really start to see what's going on. You'll see, okay, I was actually being manipulated by my ego. I was actually getting manipulated by something within myself. It wasn't even nothing going on outside of me that even made this happen. It was actually something within me. It was my ego trying to persuade me, manipulate me, deceive me. So you have to start thinking more about the bigger picture, about more of the aspects, more of the different ways that can be communicated to you as you go through this system, as you go through your journey, as you go through life, as you go through everything that you're doing, all your practices, all your talks, everything that you do. You just need to start to distinguish what is actually going on. Start to truly see what is happening. Truly start to make those changes in your life. Truly start to start raising up and get to that point where you see and you love everything that's going on and you actually understand it. It's not just coming from one aspect. It's coming from all three aspects. Guided by the one. So you have to be able to take all these aspects and really incorporate them into your life. I talk about applying the information that you get. Once you start getting higher information, you're going to have to start to be able to distinguish where this information is coming from, because there's going to be different sources that you get information from. And as you go along, you're going to start to see more about that. But, that's more for you to do your own inner search on and be looking into. But I think that's a good amount of information for you guys to start to process and to think about. So just keep raising that awareness and seeing where these ideas and these different intentions and everything is coming from, because the more that you become aware of how these different things communicate to you, like how your ego communicates with you, how spirit communicates with you, even how your higher self starts to communicate with you, you're going to start to see things in a different way. You're going to start to be able to be like, okay, when a certain situation comes about, it's like, all right, now I can see that that's not really coming from me. It's not coming from spirit, it's coming from my ego. Or, okay, that is coming from my ego, but now my ego isn't trying to deceive me, it's actually trying to help me in this certain situation. Because now you can see that, okay, something over here was actually making something happen, which caused your ego to flare out. Because your ego is a very reactive, type of thing. It likes to react to a lot of things. It's not going to be like a preemptive strike type of thing. It's going to, it's more of a reaction, like your primal instincts. So just make sure that you're taking the time to distinguish these different things and go through these things along your journey, because you don't want to be deceived. You don't want to have these things start to take control of your life in a negative way. You don't want to have to start thinking about it in a way where it's not actually helping you. It's not actually pushing you. It's not actually making you thrive higher. So once you start to actually, view things from a different perspective and a higher perspective, you'll start to see that things are coming at you from different reasons, from different ways, and different places. And you just have to be able to look within to see exactly where these things are coming from and how they actually interact with you. But yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about. If you guys want more information, there's a lot of people putting out some good information out there on YouTube, Instagram. Check them out. And also, if you want some higher informational knowledge, you can check out Astro Solson, Reprogram the Matrix. And if you want to take it a step further, like you've done those different steps, you've actually started applying this information, and you're actually ready to start doing a little more, to start to interact a little more with spirit and everything. Check out the private community, reprogramthematrix.com. But I would just want to say my full love, my gratitude, high vibes, and peace in and out. My full love, everybody.